Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Project Ozone. So I know there hasn't been an episode in a couple days, and you guys may have seen the post about it. The reason is, I don't want to go over there. The reason is, I actually spent a very long time working on our Mars base. Because Mars, the moon, was just kind of a small base. The space stations, I haven't actually got time to sit back down and work on the space station as of yet. I did put our Tier 2 rocket out here, right over there. But other than that, I haven't really got a whole lot of time here. I did get our Tier 3 rocket schematic, so we do have that. And I spent a very long time working on Mars, okay? Now, I will say that the oxygen setup is not fully complete. It's not sealed up or anything like that. So right now we have to wear tanks when we go there. Mainly due to the fact that Mars is the first base that's a fairly larger scale build. The moon was fairly small. The moon isn't a place that I really care to spend a whole lot of time on. Mars, I have to go there. I have to mine a lot of dash. I did spend a very long time mining dash. I think I mined up around 1,000 dash. Luckily, it's not too hard to find dash, and having vein miner as an option makes it so much easier to mine up a lot of dash. If we take a look here, let's see, we have 533 compressed dash right now, and then for the heavy duty plates, I actually have those disabled right now. They're not running at the moment, but the tier 3 we have 457 heavy duty plates, and then in here I've actually got a little bit of dash, and I got some more dash ore that I mined up. One reason I'm keeping a fair amount of dash ingots on hand, and I think I actually have some running right now through the QED as well, but it's very, very manual making dash. It's terrible. Long term, I have an idea to where we won't actually have to manually mine dash, but we're still a little ways off from that, and from setting that up because it's not really a priority at the moment. I have plenty of dash to get me through, but one reason that I needed quite a bit of dash ingots in ingot form is because these are actually used to make arc lamps. I did make quite a few of those. These sulfuric batteries are not expensive at all. Glowstone and dash, and these are probably one of the best light sources ever. They actually light up a huge area, and they are pretty effective for that. But here in just a minute, we'll go over to the Mars base, and I'll show you the work that I've done there, and I'll explain kind of my idea for the Mars base. I've started kind of planning out and deciding what kind of bases I'm going to want in space. I'm not going to do, honestly, I'm not going to do a whole lot with the moon. I'll go ahead and tell you. Of course, the space station is going to be kind of our, our rocket center and cobblestone or cobblework, stuff like that. And some of the other space bases, once you see Mars, you'll realize some of these are going to be rather large, and Mars isn't even going to be our largest one. But anyways, we'll go over there in a minute, and I'll walk you through it all. Also, one heads up, I'm having a fair amount of crashes anytime that I go to the overworld. So it's kind of a pain. I did make some teleporter frames and teleporters and all that stuff. However, I'm probably going to set these up a little bit differently this episode whenever we go to the asteroid belt and Neptune. Or not Neptune. Is it? Where are we going? I can't remember. Wherever we're going today. But we're going to set up the teleporters just a little bit differently because I want to try to skip the whole process of going into the overworld. I'd like to just bypass that, if at all possible, just because generally when I go through that area, I do crash. And looking at the crash log, it is due to tick rates from logistics pipes. So with that, it's very, very possible I may switch off of logistics pipes. And I think it's because, of course, the items, whenever they move through there, you can visually see them. And sadly, there's no opaque version of the transfer pipes. And it is causing a bit of lag moving those things around. So we may end up moving primarily, not entirely, but primarily into AE2. So I know a lot of things I need to move into AE2 regardless, just because logistics pipes can't handle everything. But we may end up doing more AE2 than I was originally intending, just because I'm actually getting a lot of crashes anytime I go through the overworld. Earlier I loaded into the overworld and I had 3 FPS for about 2 minutes solid, and then finally it caught back up. It was just trying to move things and stuff. I think it was on the verge of crashing, but it didn't quite crash. So anyways, before we head out though, let's go ahead. I've got our Tier 3 rocket schematic. This one didn't take nearly as long to get as the Tier 2. The Tier 2, of course, was terrible, but the Tier 3 actually didn't take that long. So, but let's go ahead. Oh, I did find the sword, actually, the Tear Jerker Rapier. I'm not using it. I just kind of have it on me right now. It has a durability of 6. So, it's pretty bad, actually. And on top of that, it has Bane of Arthropods, which is, of course, not very good. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and unlock our Tier 3 rocket. And there we go. And to actually get that, okay, Tier 3 rocket. This is going to require quite a few heavy-duty plate Tier 3s. We're going to need one of these heavy-duty nose cones. Let's see. Let me go ahead and order. Let's grab like a stack of heavy-duty plates for right now. And then the rocket fins, that's just heavy-duty Tier 2 and Tier 3. So we'll go ahead and get, I'll just order like a stack of heavy-duty Tier 2s as well. And then let me get like a stack of redstone, a stack of sticks. Then there's the rocket engine, that's 10 canister, flint and steel, all that stuff. And then the Tier 1 boosters. Oh, I am going to have to go to the overworld, aren't I? I don't want to do it. Okay. Here we go. Hopefully it doesn't crash on me. No, I'm getting that romping FPS right now. So give me a second. Let me let this, oh my gosh. Yeah, let me, get everything loaded up and all that. Hopefully it'll fix it. Okay, so our empty canisters, we've still got these. So let me go fill these up real quick. And then let me get, I'll go ahead and get the nose cone. And there's our nose cone. And then the heavy rocket fins. Go ahead and put that in there. We'll get 4 of those. And then I'm going to need 10 heavy-duty plates. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these in here, and then we'll go over to the NASA workbench and get that crafted. The Tier 1 boosters, okay. Oxygen vents. Let me go ahead and order like 2 of these. Oh no, I'm actually going to need 3. Okay, I was actually 1 short because we need them for the engine as well as the 2 boosters. Okay, there's 1 booster, and I'm just waiting for this meteoric iron to come in. For some reason, it takes the meteoric iron a little while to travel here. Okay, so there's our 2 Tier 1 boosters, and then for this, we just need the flint and steel, and there's our engine. Okay, so we've got everything now. I tell you what, I'm going to take you guys over to Mars real quick, so you can see that. And I will say, I'm very happy with it. Hopefully you guys like it thus far. Like I said, it's not totally finished because it is rather large, and I didn't want to like rush it too much. I wanted to take my time and get it right. This should be Mars. I need to put signs up there. Okay, I hope you guys are ready for this. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, there we go. That's what I've done so far. Like I said, it's not totally finished. Still quite a bit of work to do. So, before we get started with the tour, basically what Mars is going to be, because I always imagine Mars being like a mining base, right? Anytime I think of Mars, I imagine, you know, a lot of sci-fi stuff has them mining on Mars and everything. And so whenever I was sitting there thinking, like, what do I want to do with Mars? And I decided that its purpose is going to be twofold, okay? It's going to be the primary oxygen producer for our entire space network. Alright? Because actually, when I was sitting here on Mars, I actually like the terrain a lot. You know, it's really mountainous. I have this nice mountain right here, and we're kind of like in this little, like gully or valley type area between all these big mountains. I do like it. I like the sky and the terrain and everything. So I decided that it's going to be the primary oxygen producer because there is a way to wirelessly transfer oxygen within this pack since mechanism is within the pack. Assuming that it still works. I still have to test it and make sure. But so Mars is going to produce the majority of our oxygen for us. And then in addition, it's also going to be a mining base with like big mining machines. We're going to do the immersive engineering, the big, I can't remember what they're called, but the big industrial miners with the big spinning gears and all that with the big like blades that kind of dig into the earth, and do some of those miners here. And I think it'll be really, really cool once it's done. I mean, this is really just a start. There's so much, and it takes so long to build all this. Plus, I don't have the oxygen set up. You know, it's funny because it's the oxygen center for our base, and I don't even have oxygen set up here yet. So I have to go back ever so often and fill up my tanks, and then I get a couple crashes, and then I come back. It's terrible. Hopefully, honestly, shortly after this episode, I'll get the oxygen in place here. So I just have to go craft up a bunch of oxygen collectors and all of that. So anyways, over here, we've got a moon buggy set up. Basically, it's just feeding fuel in and power. This capacitor bank, you notice it's not filled right now. It's actually being fed by just these 2 solar panels. So I made just a few of these advanced solar panels. They're not expensive at all. I mean, they don't produce the best power ever. You can see right here, they're just compressed steel, heavy aluminum wire, advanced wafer steel pole, full solar panels, which is solar wafers, which we have all that, pretty much all that stuff automated at the moment anyway. So basically these 2 just fuel the buggy. And then I have like these nice little road setups. This cave that's going to go through this tunnel that's going through the mountain, it's not done yet, but still under works, so to speak. And then the teleporter's not going to be out here forever. I just got it set up. That's just my temporary spot for it. And then we've got a road that kind of goes off in this direction. These lights here, these are arc lamps. So for example, F7, you can see, I mean, they light up a huge area. You can see on the map, I mean, there's light everywhere. So I like the way these arc lamps look with the vect blocks quite a bit. So I've got them kind of around here, like almost like spotlights that kind of light up the area. And at night, when it gets dark, if you take off the night vision, you can actually see this place glowing from a distance, which I love that. Nighttime in space actually gets very, very dark. Of course, I'm running night vision, but it does get very, very dark, and these really light up the area around it. I mean, you can see it from a distance. It kind of looks like a city almost from a distance. Actually, it is night, so let me... Whoops. Forgot that my flight is actually tied to my helmet. Okay, just so you have an idea, that's what it looks like from a distance. It really lights up the surrounding area. I don't understand why I take fall damage. Like it's like slow fall, but I still take fall damage. But as you can tell, I mean, it really lights up this area. So, and I actually have the brightness turned up a bit, so that's why nighttime's not as dark as it normally is. But I do love those arc lamps. Those are one of my favorite lights, and that's one reason I love getting to the point where we're in Mars, because it really it really gives you a great option for light. So anyways, moving on, these here. I was actually debating how I wanted to set up kind of the hydroponic setup for this, because I wanted to have a big oxygen setup, right? So what these are oxygen silos, more or less. I haven't filled in these last blocks here. These are just, I've cut these laboratory blocks down with forged micro blocks. So it kind of makes this like, this indentation on the tower. I think it looks good anyway. And then inside of here, basically, you're not going to be able to see inside of these, but there's going to be a bunch of oxygen collectors, and then wheat's going to be planted and all that. And then it's going to get pumped down through here and then into the actual base itself. Okay, so each of these are identical. I haven't actually put all the dirt into this one because I actually just recently finished these. And I'm not too worried about filling that in, because as long as it looks good from the outside, that's the main thing. I did put the glowstone in there, but that's just for lighting purposes, for the wheat, to make sure everything's good. And then at the top here, I've just got more of those solar panels. We may eventually upgrade these, because there are upgraded Galacticraft solar panels. There is the ultimate solar panel, but we're going to have to get compressed crystal for that. Hybrid solar panel takes compressed magnesium, which we don't have that stuff at the moment. So right now, advanced solar panels, I'm happy with that. And for those of you that don't know, which is they're actually... Are they not producing right now? They must not see the sun. There they go. I love that. That's one of my favorite things about the Galacticraft solar panels. I knew they were about to turn over. They will actually turn and face the sun, right? So, I mean, I will say this isn't the most ideal place, because I've got mountains in this direction, mountains in this direction. So their solar generation ability is kind of limited, because once the sun goes behind the mountain or down over there, it's harder for them to actually get sunlight. But I still think it looks really, really cool. And I don't actually have these ones plugged up to anything yet. I do have the conduits ran, but I haven't actually bothered to plug it up because, I mean, I'm not too concerned about the power. It's more for looks, honestly. But they do produce a decent amount of power. So, and then I've also done this fence around here. This is, of course, just carpenter's barriers that kind of run around the outskirts of this area. And I've got to finish. There's going to be like gates over here and gates right there and all that good stuff. And if we go inside, I'm very happy with this so far. We've got this nice black stained panes from Tinker's Constructs. And then I'm using the factory blocks up here for the ceiling. And then I've got arc lamps that kind of light up this area. That chest is just there for building materials. Because I didn't want to throw them in this bag, really. Because then I end up with a bunch of clutter the next planet I go to. And eventually, I'm probably going to build another room off in this direction for oxygen compression for mechanism. Because that would be like right underneath one of the silos. I don't know. Or it may just be this area right here. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure on that. I'm still kind of planning that out. It may just be these two rooms in this bottom section and have like this room for maybe oxygen compression and this room for oxygen transfer or oxygen collection. I don't know. This will basically be an oxygen center down here. Okay. And then if we continue on, I love, this is a big 3x3 interior sized airlock. And what I'm planning is right here, we're going to set up a pneumaticraft elevator in probably one of the next couple episodes. I'll probably set it up with you guys because I love the pneumaticraft elevators. Honestly, one thing I'm kind of waiting on is I would like to get the creative pneumaticraft compressor, but we're going to have to get the dire crafting in place, which we're not too far from that at the moment, before we can start that. So we'll have a pneumaticraft elevator that goes up, and I've basically got like a pattern. So as you're moving up, you kind of, that pattern kind of flashes. I think it'll look good once we're moving up through the elevator. And then you can come up here and you're going through like glassed in area now that we're above the ground there. And it'll take you up to this. This is all tinted glass from Cetones, but it's kind of clear looking and I do like that a lot. But it's all glassed in up here. And then this front section's not actually going, oh, I missed a spot. Whoops. I'll come back and fix that. I've got some more tinted glass made up. This front section's not going to lead anywhere. I thought about maybe doing like a small glassed-in balcony so you can kind of see down a little bit better over the base, but we shall see. I don't know. But, and then these three are going to go off into, these stupid meteors keep landing everywhere. Goodbye, meteors. I'll go ahead and throw them into here. But these three directions, they're going to head off to basically like mining setups. And there's also going to be some mining setups down there, like the big immersive engineering ones and stuff like that. They're going to be churning, and there's going to be like void miners over here and just all kinds of stuff is my intention. To have this place, I really don't need the metals, but I think it would be cool to have that stuff running. Plus, we'd actually, like the void miners and stuff, we'd actually get Galacticraft metals, which would be useful. So, I did spend a very long time on this. I think this probably took it took the longest as far as like an individual project, like compared to like the silos or something like that, because it took forever to figure out the shape and the style of these blocks that I wanted to use and all of that. Like down here, I've got these big pillars set up, and they kind of like come out, and yeah. And I've been working on supports. I mean, it's not totally done. These are still kind of spindly at the moment. I'm still going to add supports and stuff like that. But I was waiting until I get the actual mining platforms built out to figure out how I want to do the supports and stuff with those. So, anyways, I think so far I'm happy with it. It's still a lot of work. It's taking forever. You could see that we're already on day 1221. I think it was, I can't remember how many hours I spent working on this, but it was all active hours just working. Because I was kind of trying to figure out the design and stuff as I built it. So, but anyways, this is our first big scale base, big scale space base. So I may actually just want to move here and live here and make this like my permanent base, right? So anyways, that's enough rambling. I do apologize. It took a little while to show you guys all of that. But yeah, I'll continue working on that. Like I'm at the point right now where... I thought it was going to crash. Okay, I'm going to have to give it a second, because if I run straight to the space station, it will crash, I'm sure. But I'm at the point right now where, you know, the space station and then the moon setup, I've pretty much done that between episodes. I'm getting to the point now, though, where I'm moving into space bases that are a lot larger scale. I won't be able to get those done, you know, between each episode. So space is something that'll take a little while to get all caught up and stuff. But I will say that probably in the next couple episodes, we're probably going to be working on AE2, I imagine. So, but I'm kind of taking my time and just kind of building those bases out because, you know, I want it to look really, really nice. I want Galacticraft to be something that we really do a lot with, you know, as far as the bases and stuff go. So anyways, let's go ahead and build our ship. Nose cone. And we got our tier 3 rocket. Aha. Okay. So let's go ahead and turn this in. We still have to do the cryo sleep. We'll get to that. I promise. So, reward bag. We got, long fall boots and aerial faith plate from Portal Gun. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. And of course it sent me more carrots. It's like, here you go. You want these, don't you? Alright, let's go get this rocket fueled up. I do quite like this rocket. I like the, you know, the black color. We're getting to where the rockets are going to be a lot cooler. Like, these first ones are just this ugly, like, iron-looking rocket ship. But now we're getting into a lot nicer-looking ones. I mean, this one doesn't even compare to this one. This reminds me of, like, those little cardboard rockets that, like, kids have. I cannot... For some reason, I cannot actually get out of this, which is fine. I mean, we're going to blast off here in just a second. But that one over there reminds me of the little, like, cardboard square, like, kids' playground rocket ships. And now we're getting into ones that look quite a bit better. So, but anyways, we're fueled up. I do love these automatic fuel setups. They make life so much easier. And let's go ahead and blast off. And we're going to head to... I don't know if we want to head to the asteroid belt first. The asteroid field. There's really not a whole lot to do there, I will say. But it's also probably the best place to get meteoric iron if you need to manually mine that. Of course, we don't really need to do that. Asteroid belts. Honestly, the asteroid belt's probably going to be a very small base. Just basically have a teleporter and a little bit of oxygen setups and stuff. Asteroid belt's not a place that I'm going to spend a whole lot of time in, just because there's really not a whole lot that I need from the asteroid belt. There's nothing unique. There's no dungeons. There's no nothing really there. Okay, so our options here are Venus and asteroids. So let's go ahead and just launch to the asteroids, get it out of the way. I'll show you guys the asteroids if you haven't seen them. I mean, they look okay. They're just, like I said, there's really not a whole lot to do there, is the only thing. So we got this little, like, drop pod, and we're coming in. Meow. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get out of it. Here. Bah. There we go. And let me grab our launch pad and our rocket. Honestly, I may blast off from here because going to the space station, I may crash. So, anyways, the asteroids, I mean, this is pretty much it. There's a lot of floating asteroids. There's some of these that are, like, filled with ice, dense ice. Go ahead and vein mine. Oh, so much dense ice. I don't need that much dense ice. Okay. Now, sometimes in the center of these, that's what I'm looking for, is just to, yeah, here we go. It's kind of like a weird little, like, grassy area with, like, some lava and stuff. There's that, and then sometimes in the middle of the asteroids, you'll actually find huge deposits of materials. And sometimes it's very rare materials. You can actually find ones that are filled with diamonds, and we're talking, like, a lot of diamonds. Also, gravity here is very minimal, so... just a heads up. It's not zero gravity like it is in the space stations, which is kind of strange. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not yeah, see, this is actually an iron meteor here. You can find them with, like, diamonds and stuff like that. But, like I said, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time asteroid belts because there's not a whole lot here. Yeah, I mean, you can find them filled with diamonds. You can find them filled with just all sorts of things. If you're needing materials, this is a good place to come for those. I guess, in fact, I'll tell you what we're going to do just really quickly is, let's call, for right now, this is going to be our temporary spot for our base, right? So I'm just going to kind of light this up with glowstone a little bit, make just a small platform, and we're going to put our teleporter on this, just so that I can easily teleport back to the asteroid belt. And then what we're going to do is we are going to just set up our teleporter. I actually didn't bring a chunk loader with me. Meh. Okay, we'll remove that block. We're going to put our teleporter right here, and we are going to make a new channel, and we're going to call it Asteroids. Set it, and then what we can do is let's just give this some power in the form of a tesseract. So we'll just put that right down there. We'll say power line 1, set frequency. And now what we can do is just use the portable teleporter for the time being until I get the overworld sorted so I don't crash every time that I go through there. So if I fly off a little ways, right click, you see that asteroids is selectable within the portable teleporter, set, teleport. So that's one really nice feature about the portable teleporter is you can actually use it just using a teleporter and use it for kind of like hotspot portals. You know, you don't even have to do the portal frame if you don't want to, if you want to use the portable teleporter, and you don't have to have a linked teleporter to it. So, but anyways, with that, let's go ahead and head back to, I want to go back to the space station, which is going to teleport me to the overworld. Actually quite bizarre because I'm not crafting, I mean, I'm not crashing as much right now. Must be lucky or something recording. I don't know. I have no clue. Alright, but let's set up our rocket again. And we're going to get this fueled up. And then we're going to go to Venus. That's really strange. I cannot get out of this rocket at all. Like, if you get in it, you're in it. You better be ready to fly. Alright, we are fueled up. And one thing I wanted to show you guys. After Mars, there's no other additional schematic. So basically, you go to the dungeon, and the only schematic you're looking for is the rockets. There's nothing else to be on the lookout for or anything. Now, I will say that Mars, after you've done the dungeon, after you've visited the asteroid belt, you can actually get the Astro Miner schematic. So what you have to do, I know a lot of people, in my past series, I know a lot of people have had questions about how to get the Astro Miner. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Basically what you have to do is you have to go to Mars, you have to get your, you know, your tier 3 schematic for the rocket, and then you have to actually travel to the asteroid belt. And once you travel to the asteroid belt, that's one reason I wanted to go there. You know, even though we don't actually need anything there, we did need to go to the asteroid belt. Okay, we are going to fly into Venus. Here we go, parachute in. Oh, you know what, I forgot. Invalid thermal protection. Okay, well, we'll get that sorted shortly. I forgot you actually need different thermal protection once you get to Venus. It's been a while since I've done extra planets, honestly, so I apologize. Alright, there's our rocket stuff. Okay, so let me just really quickly, let's see, what is the, because here is basically too hot. Okay, it's basically just compressed steel and then that thermal cloth. Okay, let me order a bit of wool. Redstone. Oh my gosh, I gotta hurry. Okay, so just a heads up for you guys, I had to actually put my world into creative for a moment because what happened was I totally forgot to craft my thermal padding. I tried to get it crafted. I got it to a crafting table and almost started crafting it, and then I died. And then what happened was I got caught in a death cycle. So that's why I had to put it in creative, because there was really nothing that I could do, because it was spawning me way out over there, like 900 blocks away. And, you know, I couldn't get over here in that time. And then what would happen was I would just die from no oxygen and then go right back to where I spawned. And it's actually spawning me into lava. That was the best part. Spawning me into lava. So make sure whenever you come here, make sure that you craft your thermal padding. I totally forgot about that, and it was a mistake on my part. But anyways, I'm going to set up my teleporter here, because I can't even, like, even in creative, because I can't access my Galacticraft inventory. So I can't put my oxygen gear on or anything like that. So I'm pretty well stuck at the moment. So I'm just going to put a teleporter right here, and I will throw this stuff away. Just because I'm not trying to cheat. It's just I have to, because otherwise I can't do anything. I just keep dying in a cycle. So we're going to call this Venus. We'll set it. And then I'm going to just teleport to the space station. Okay. So I do apologize about that. I hate having to go into creative mode. But I really had no option. So, no option that I knew of, because I just kept dying and respawning back in a cycle. And it was absolutely terrible. Alright, so anyways, what we need to craft is we need to craft our tier 2 thermal padding. I totally forgot, like I said. We crafted the tier 1, you know, to go to Mars, but you need the tier 2 for Venus and Mercury because it's hot. This is like a cooler version. Then you also have to craft the tier 3 for Jupiter and Saturn. And then there's also the tier 4. That is for Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, and Eris. Of course, these are different degrees of coldness, right? So you have to keep warm. And then in Venus and Mercury, you have to keep cool, because otherwise you'll just burn up. So anyways, let's go ahead, get a bunch of this thermal cloth. I'm actually going to need more of that. Like, I'll be honest with you, if I had just respawned back into the overworld or something, I wouldn't have minded, because I would have just made another spaceship and came back. Oh, actually, I thought I ordered compressed steel, and I actually didn't. But I wouldn't have minded, you know, in the past, because if you die in, like, the space station or something like that, you will fall back to the overworld. You'll come back to the overworld. And I believe I want to say it's the same in, like, the asteroid belts and the moon and Mars. Yeah, I know it is, actually, in fact. Because I remember I was on a server one time and I died. Like, I had just gotten to the moon, and it was actually, like, my first time. You know, I was playing on a server doing Galacticraft. And I was all excited because it was my first time doing Galacticraft. Literally got to the moon and had everything that I needed, right? So I set up solar power and all that, but I wasn't prepared for the really long nights in the moon. And, yeah, I ended up dying because I just couldn't, let's Galacticraft planets. I guess I don't have that stuff set up yet. I'll set that stuff up later. What did I just throw in there? I just threw something in there that didn't need to go in there, didn't I? Yes, I threw my my thingy in there. The remote orderer. But anyways, I was on a server. I get to the moon. I die, and it took me back to the overworld, and my spaceship and my entire base and stuff was left up there on the moon. I was like, no, you know. And I remember one of the admins was like, I can teleport you back up there to get it, and I was like, no, you know. And I just basically I just went through the whole process of getting back up there, because I think that's part of the fun. You know, you die and all your stuff's still stuck on the moon, and it's terrible. You got to make a new ship and all that. Honestly, in this pack, it wouldn't have been any issue at all to make a new ship, because we have literally, like, everything automated to the point that it's not really a concern. But it just wouldn't bring me back. So, alright, so anyways, we have our thermal stuff now. I do apologize about that. I did not... It's been too long since I did extra planets. I'm so sorry, guys. Frequency moon. Okay, I'm going to set it to Venus. Hopefully this teleports us over there. I think so. Yeah, okay. There we go. Now we're back on Venus. I'm so sorry about that. I feel like such a dumb... Alright, yeah, see, by the way, that's where it was spawning me. Way over there, just right into lava. And I was just like, there's no way. And it just kept spawning me and kept spawning me. Like I would spawn into lava. And then it was like, okay, I've got to I've got to run 900 meters before I die in like a split second. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Alright, but you'll notice immediately Venus is pretty much a lot like the Nether. You know, it's super hot on Venus. I will say that Mercury is going to be even hotter once we get over there. But it's covered in this Venus surface rock. There's also volcanic rock. There's lava. There's magma cubes. Or whatever. Magma slimes. Right? Magma cubes. Okay, I was right. They're evolved magma cubes. And then you've also got these blazes. I believe they're evolved. Yeah, evolved blazes. And this is what Venus looks like. I do quite like Venus because you have all these like nice indentions. You have a lot of crevasses, however you want to pronounce it. There's also villages on Venus. So we'll pop on over here and check these out. And they've just got these alien villagers. Just like, there's Venus iron ore. Alien villagers just like on the moon. So there's really nothing special about them. You know, you can't trade with them or anything like that. And that's pretty much all there is to those villages. So we have to go find ourselves a dungeon. And also find, what is it? I think it's carbon that spawns on Venus, if I recall. I love all these huge, yeah, there's carbon. Ah. Okay, we'll go ahead and grab a bit of that. And what would be the best way to process this, by the way? I wonder if it can be processed in the QED. It does work with the mechanism quintupling. It can be processed in the QED. So that's what we're going to do for now. I will say that, first up, if I recall correctly, like I said, I mean, it's been a while since I've done extra planets. Like, we're talking a few years. And what's funny is I know I mentioned in a previous episode about the thermal padding. Just totally forgot about it. But anyways, if I recall correctly, carbon is a little bit harder to find than dash. You don't find it in quite as large like density. It's not quite as dense as the dash was. So it will take a little bit longer to mine this stuff up. Now, as far as Venus goes, I'm debating between Venus and Mercury, actually. And I'll probably do Mercury for our ore quintupling setup. I think that's what we'll do, is we'll have Mercury for ore quintupling. Because it kind of makes sense, right? Because for making the brine and stuff, you want a hot planet. And it seems reasonable to have it on a planet that's right next to the sun. I will say, though, that I've never set it up on Mercury, so I'm not entirely sure if the heat will translate right. Because, of course, with ore quintupling, you do get a boost based on the how hot the biome that it's set up is. So I'm not sure about if there's a good boost on Venus or not. It would make sense if there was, but I'm not 100% sure on that, honestly. Actually, I'll tell you what we're probably going to do. I don't know if we can do it, though. Let me see. Oh, wow. Okay, never mind. You need palladium to do that. I was thinking we could get a digital miner and set it up just to mine like carbon and stuff. So whenever we first reach a planet, just throw down our digital miner and have it start mining up all the specified materials. Because, of course, that miner you can whitelist and do all that fun stuff. But we have to get up to where we get palladium in extra planets. So that's still, I think, a little ways away. I think palladium is like Jupiter or something like that. Ooh. Oh, and there's also evolved Enderman, too. So just a heads up. They're still super easy, though, so not really a concern. Okay, after much flying around, we have finally found the Venus dungeon. It's all this, like, kind of gaudy yellow blocks. So, I'm going to kind of just move through this. We've got plenty of spawners, so I'm not too concerned with those. I am going to need to get my other oxygen tanks out. Because otherwise I'm going to end up running out of oxygen. Which, of course, wouldn't be good. Because then I'll end up in another, like, death fest type thing. Alright, what do we got here? I'll take the dimwits and the safari nets. Okay, if I recall, now I will say it's been a while. I think I remember the boss that's in here. I think. Oh, seriously? Ah! Man, I hate when it does that. So basically we found a chest, but no boss. So That's another, that's another bug. I can't remember if we ran into that. All this stuff. I can't remember if we ran into that when we were trying to get the tier 2 rocket. I cannot recall. I know we ran into them where we had a boss but no treasure chests, I think, but anyways, that means I've got to fly around and look for yet another dungeon, and it actually takes a while. The ones on Venus, in my experience, aren't terribly common. I think the moon is probably like the most common dungeon. This one you have a whole lot of lava pits, and with the terrain on Venus, it's very easy to like misjudge stuff and think off in the distance like, oh, that looks like a dungeon, but when you get up close it's like, oh, that's lava. So in my experience it takes forever to find these dungeons. But oh well, what do you know? Maybe not. Maybe we're just really lucky. Okay, let me it messes me up because on Craft of the Titans I have like a different button that is my vein mine or my ore excavation or vein miner, I guess in 1.7, but it's a different button and I keep getting them mixed up. This better have a boss in it. It better. Okay, yeah, there's a boss in this one. Alright, if I recall correctly, this boss is about, yep. Evolved Magma Cube. He's actually taking damage right now just being alive. Strange, because he's not actually doing anything to us. So we'll just beat him down. He's supposed to kind of hop around, but I've actually encountered that before where he gets stuck. So it's not, in my experience anyways, it's not super uncommon. And we should, there it is, okay. And there is our key for our treasure chest. Alright. And let's go get this sucker unlocked. Pa-pow. And we have our tier 4 rocket schematic. See, that's not nearly as painful. These ones through extra planets are so much easier. So, even though it took us a long time to get through like the moon and get our new schematic, the ones here aren't going to be as bad, I promise. So, we won't bump up the difficulty quite as much on the rest of these planets. So, now that we've got that, one thing I do want to look at, I'm probably going to want to get a bit more carbon, I think, before we head out. But let's see, carbon is used for... Oh, it's the carbon wafer, that's right. Okay, so that's what we need to actually start moving into AE2, is the carbon wafer. I'll tell you what, I am going to cut for just a minute. I'm going to go back out. I'm actually going to get, I guess, some of these Venus dungeon bricks. That would be just as well. And what I want to do is I want to get just a bit of food in me. Okay. I love that food, by the way. It's just like, meow, your hunger is filled. Okay, I'm actually going to throw this stuff into this bag for right now. Not that, but just because my input chest, I've got to set up a place for Galacticraft planets, but I have a feeling it's going to get filled very, very quickly. But basically, I just want to mine up a bit more carbon while I'm here. I'd like to get at least a stack of this, just so that I've got it. But I will come back here between episodes and mine up a bit more of it. Look at this going. Vein miner for the win. Okay, so I've got over a stack of carbon. That's fine. I'm good with that. And let's head on back to... I'll just set it to the moon. It'll take us to the overworld, so... I'm surprised it's not crashing on me right now. I am just so amazed at that. It's great. Still taking a bit to load up all this stuff, but I'd rather it do that than crash on me. And I'm actually not getting the high FPS yet. I don't know what's different. I'm going to pull out this dash, in fact. And we'll get this carbon ore started running for right now. Alright, and then I'm going to want to grab a supplier. And just really, really quickly, let's go set up this dash so that it can start producing the stuff that we need. Where did my wrench go? Okay. By the way, the new rocket right here, the Tier 4 rocket, it requires one of those Tier 4 nose cones, which is a bunch of the Tier 4 heavy-duty plates. That's just the Tier 3 and then the compressed carbon. Also the Tier 4 booster, which takes compressed carbon and Tier 4 plates. You also need rocket fins, which is heavy-duty Tier 3 and 4, and then just heavy-duty 4s. Okay, so it's really similar to like the previous stuff that we've been doing. Not really all that different, honestly. Okay, so I believe, let's say this one. Okay, this is the one that's open. So what I'm gonna do is actually let me get the wafers going first. Basically, there's 3 things that I need being crafted. Wafers, that's silicon, redstone, and then it also needs a comparator. Okay, yeah. I must have already set this one up for the carbon wafers and forgot about it. Alright, so we'll go ahead and throw carbon into that. And then if I throw carbon into the system, it should get pumped out over to the circuit fabricator pretty quickly. Okay, so that is running. And I need to set it so that it has more carbon, because right now it's only requesting 1. I need to keep a stack in there. But these do craft 3 wafers at a time, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. So that should keep all of our carbon in there. And then I'll just configure one of these barrel or these drawers. We'll say keep carbon wafers in that. Okay. So now I just need to set up the plates, the compressed plates. And honestly, I don't know what all the wafers is for. That, the inscriber, that's it. Just 2 things for that. Okay. We've got enough for an inscriber right now, I think. I really wish the QED would take automatic input. It would make my life so much easier. It really would. Okay, I actually didn't need this, but actually I'm going to need it for the carbon, the plates. Okay, so the next thing, the compressed carbon, I think I'm just going to have it compress the carbon for right now. I'm not going to set up the heavy-duty plates right this second. Be this one. We'll throw in an active supplier module, and we'll say keep, we'll say partial, and keep 127 carbon in there. And there we go. It's running now. You can see, I mean, it's really easy to add the additional like metals and stuff into this, because the way it's set up, it's so simple. So simple. Alright, so compressed carbon, that's going to start being produced. I am going to have to go build up a bit more carbon. I'm going to have to mine a few stacks of it, but that's fine. Especially to get the heavy-duty plates, you know. It actually takes a lot to fill out wafers and compressed and the heavy duties. It takes quite a bit. Okay, so anyways, now that we have some compressed carbon being crafted, let's go ahead. I imagine we should have the quests for AE2. Yeah. Okay, they want us to make... oh, they don't actually want us to make the... But that does take the inscriber. Now, I wonder... Actually, you know what? We could probably just go out. There's meteors around here. And I'm going to need the skystone anyways. Like right there. I wouldn't mind grabbing a few of these and just vein mining them up because the skystone will be needed. So we'll go ahead and get just a little bit of this stuff. I love it. Like, the power of carrots is just wonderful. Honestly, I'm probably going to need a drawer for that if I do that again. Because that's probably like our entire AE2 thing shot in one fell swoop. Okay, there's engineering, calculation, logic. Okay, I think we're good on those now. I just need the one. And that should be everything but silicon. Silicon is crafted with silicon and a block of iron. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our inscriber then. And I think it's crashing. Okay, it did in fact crash on me. I think I'm going to go straight for the advanced inscriber, honestly. It's a bit better. It just takes the compressed dash... Oh, engineering processors. Wait a second. Whoa, I love that recipe. You can use blocks to make 9 at a time. That is awesome. And you can actually use raw silicone from Galacticraft to get 2 at a time. But that stuff, I believe that comes from asteroids, I think. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've actually even messed with the, I don't know. I can't remember. No, that's actually from mining, right? It's down, like, is it from the nether, I think? I remember there being a silicon ore, I think, and it's very uncommon, if I recall correctly. I forgot I had all these atomic alloys in here, and steel casings. That would have been useful. Because I crafted the teleporters just from the moon base, and I totally forgot there was still stuff in this request table, like between episodes. Because I didn't, I was trying my best to avoid coming back to the overworld as best I could, because it kept crashing. It was terrible. Okay, so let me get just a couple sticky pistons. I've not taught it how to make those. Okay. I know I've taught it how to make pistons. So let me order like 2 of those. And 2 slime balls. And let me take a look here. I would like to get the processors being made maybe this episode before we end out. Ada, they're going to want us to make growth accelerators and the advanced, okay, the advanced inscriber. There we go. Probably be next episode when we get that set up, maybe. Leak control Enderium. It's actually not that bad to get that. Yeah, we'll probably do it now, in fact. Okay, so there's 1 piston. Okay, so there's our 2 sticky pistons. There's our Fluix block. Let's get our 5 carbon wafers. And actually, while those are coming in, let me go check. I need to keep this carbon running, because we're going to need a bit of it. Carbon wafers, and then there is our inscriber, and let's see. And for right now, I'm just going to set it up like right here, I think. And so for the silicon press, I'm going to need, what was it, silicon and iron? Block of iron, I think. We only have 6,000 blocks of iron, which is actually quite a bit for this pack, because, you know, you have to craft those separately. And we'll get that running. And pow. Inscribe silicon press. Okay, that quest is now completed. And we've got a crafting quest, a crafting task for the inscriber. Okay. A good reward bag. What do we got? An item dislocator. Meh. Okay, so now they want us to make the advanced inscriber, which is good. I love this thing. So that requires compressed dash engineering processor, which we can actually get this, the inscribed engineering. Okay. Let's see. Let me order a block of diamond. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing running. It's engineering. Right. It's not actually letting me put the block of diamond in there. Okay, so apparently that doesn't work, in fact. Maybe it works in the advanced inscriber. That may be how we have to do it. So there's that. And then let me order a couple pulsating chipsets. Actually got a few of those still made up. You don't actually use those too often until now. And then printed silicon. Let me order just a little bit of this. How is this made? Okay, this does not work. Inscriber silicon press and silicon. Inscriber silicon press. Go! What is wrong with this thing? It just does not work. What if I put this silicon in here? That does not work. What in the world? Yeah, this does not work at all. Does it have to be the raw silicon from Galacticraft core, maybe? Man, this is annoying, actually. It will not. And if I pull this out, then I can shift-click this silicon into, like, here. But the silicon press won't go in there. Okay, I'm going to assume that the recipe's bugged, I guess. And we are going to head to the Nether. If I recall correctly, that's where the silicon ore is from, I think. Fingers crossed that it does not crash. Okay, and I guess I'm just going to head down, because if I recall correctly, this stuff is like low Y level, I think. Okay, welcome back. I've just had to go into a test world, one of my test worlds. This was the one that I was actually testing capacitor seeds a while back. Because trying to come back from the Nether, I had 11 crashes. Just back to back to back. It's ticking entity, and it's ticking logistics pipes. So eventually it'll load me back in. I'm going to have to do something to cut down on that. I mean, it's actually just killing me, because the overworld is like just taboo at this point. So, anyways, I did a little bit of research, and apparently it's a bug kind of in this pack. Let me actually get like a capacitor bank. Here, I'll just grab one of these creative ones. But there's a bug with the standard inscriber, apparently. Okay, so if we put the inscriber down here, I put the silicon press in there. I cannot put silicon into this. However, a couple things to note. One thing, you can actually put silicon just into a crafting grid and get yourself raw silicon. So that's an easy way to double your output. I don't know for sure if raw silicon can just be placed into this. So that's an easy way to do that. You can also, from what I read, you can pump items into this. So for example, if I had, let me get like the diamond blocks, we weren't able to put those in. They will not go into that slot. But if I put the engineering press onto here and I put the blocks of diamond in a hopper, it will craft that way. Okay, so that's of course just the standard inscriber. Now if we had, for example, the advanced inscriber, this thing is a boss. I love it. You can just put the silicon press into there, throw your silicon in there. It actually works appropriately. So I don't believe it actually receives power though, does it? It says it's sleeping. I believe it actually has to have AE2 power. If I set up like a controller right here then, okay, now it starts running. So the advanced inscriber is definitely the way to go. We are going to have to get, I don't know how you, actually I don't think this is in Kappa mode, this test world. So I wasn't interested in like the testing of the recipe. That's just for testing purposes, so I haven't changed it over. So I am going to end this episode out here. I know it's about wrapping up point. I was looking at the time on the video, so I am going to wrap it up here. I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention because, you know, in case you're playing along or something, I don't want you guys to be stumped by it, because apparently it's a little bit of an issue. I did notice a lot of people reported that issue, so it's not uncommon. It's just how it is within this pack. But once we get the advanced inscriber up and going, it's not going to be an issue. It's just this one doesn't work appropriately. So, but of course, if you're, the silicon, you can just change it all over to the Galacticraft silicon. You're going to double what you get anyway, so you might as well. But yeah, so next episode, I was debating between, there's two different things in particular that I want to work on over the course of the next two episodes. However, next episode, I will say that we are going to be working on Applied Energistics 2, because I honestly, at this point, I have to cut down on the amount of logistics pipes I have. It is killing me with those entity ticks. We'll probably change over to AE2. Now I'm thinking about actually setting AE2 up offsite and having it sent, well, the only thing, I was going to say, I'm thinking about having it sent long distance, but I don't think that we'd be able to craft the wireless transfer stuff for AE2, honestly, at the moment. I imagine it's going to be expensive. I'll have to look into that. There's a couple different ideas, that I've got for it, but we'll figure it out. I'll get it figured out by next episode. I'll let you guys know what we're going to do. So chances are next episode we're going to work on AE2. We're going to try to cut down on the amount of logistics pipes that we have. So next episode will probably be all AE2. Then the following episode, my intention is we're going to spend that episode on Mars, because I want to get our miner set up. I want to get some of the oxygen transfer system set up. I want to cover like how to do the thermal setup for your base. Like, how we have the oxygen set up right now. Well, on Mars and onward, we need to also take into account low or high temperatures. So we're going to mess around with that. We're going to go over how to thermally protect your base so you don't have to have the thermal padding. Squiddy withered away. Okay. Because that way if I teleport to Mars, for example, because like the thermal padding that we have on Venus, the Venus and Mercury thermal padding, if we go to Mars, we actually have to change thermal paddings. So I want to make sure that my base is thermally protected. So if I teleport onto Mars, you know, I have like a short duration where, like, as long as I'm within the base, I don't have to change out my padding. It's actually very, very important, I feel like. So we're going to go over that. We're going to do the cryogenic sleep chamber and a few other things there on Mars. So we will probably spend the majority, if not all of the episode on Mars doing some of that stuff. So as we progress, there will be a few episodes where we spend certain episodes on specific space bases doing different things, because, like, for example, the ore quintupling, we'll spend that entire episode probably on, I'm thinking it's going to be Mercury, honestly. I'm going to have to do some testing and make sure that you get the biome increase for it being on Mercury, because I mean, it is a really hot biome, so it would make sense. But I've got to double check it and everything. So, but yeah, next episode, all AE2. We'll probably start at the episode with automating the inscribers. We'll get into the inscribers. We'll get some power. We'll get advanced inscribers. We'll get power going, and whatnot. Honestly, I can't attest to how much work I'll get done between episodes, because I'll probably start recording that next episode, that AE2 one, because honestly, I'm to the point where I don't want to leave the overworld once I'm there, because as soon as I do, there's a chance that I'll get into like this really long crash cycle, and it takes forever to get back into the world, because I'm sure you guys know Minecraft doesn't, you know, modded Minecraft doesn't start up instantaneously. It does take a little bit to start up. For me, it's like 2 minutes. But when it crashes for, you know, 11 times in a row, you're talking nearly half an hour there that I'm just crashing. And it's terrible. It's awful. So I'll probably just go straight into recording that once I can finally get back in the world. I may even have to load a backup. I'm not for sure. We'll see. This is the most I've ever crashed in a single cycle. 11 times. It's so many. But we'll see. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And sorry for... We actually had a couple bumps in this episode with the thermal padding and then with the crashing and stuff. So, but hopefully that'll get sorted here fairly soon. So, anyways, if you guys enjoyed it, as always, be sure and hit that like button, smash that dirt, and be sure and subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date with when new videos and stuff come out. The next episode I'm gonna try for Sunday. For the next episode, because I know this episode took a little bit to get out, so hopefully Sunday will be the next one. So, but yeah, so anyways, that's the plan for the next few episodes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys then.